Hey everybody, this is Minion Soldier, and this is my M1A1 Abrams. I have finally unlocked the Tier 8 American main battle tank. Now, so far, this is technically the end of the line right now. Now, of course, once the open beta expands further, and I think very, very soon we should be seeing some of the next tiers opening up. And of course, this tank is bone stock. I have literally just picked this thing up, and I'm about to do my first battle in it, and you're going to be joining me along on my first battle. As you can see, not a lot of tier 8s in game yet, so I'm going to be playing with some lower tiers. I'm going to be trying to vary my ammo a little bit more and trying to, kind of really take advantage of the heat ammo where and when I can, but I'm still a little bit sloppy with it in this battle. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to skip through the countdown as well so we can get kind of right into the action. And what I'm going to do while this battle's going on is I'm going to talk about some of my observations of PvE battles and some of my disappointments in regards to this. And one of the things that I don't like about the PvE battles is because so many of the enemies seem to use kind of like an HE based ammunition, and they have um, a kind of ridiculous amount of accuracy. And whereas with when you're firing from a main battle tank or something like that, you can miss, you can bounce, you can have your shot deflected by ERA. With so many of the enemy tanks, I mean, they just have this ridiculous accuracy, even on the move, to the point that when you're shooting them, they can be driving over an obstacle and bouncing in the air, but they can still nail you with a shot. And when they're firing nothing but HE, your armor really doesn't matter. And when you're having to fight this many guys over and over and over again, even in a main battle tank, they can really start to wear you down. Now, you would think that that's not that big of a deal, but what it does is it really kind of precludes people from being very productive in light tanks. So a lot of your, more machine gun equipped light tanks just really don't count because they just get annihilated so quickly by an enemy that is able to fire with 100% accuracy. So it really kind of makes any player who's driving around in a light tank, unless they're being ultra careful and kind of try being really cagey using all the kind of obstacles on the ground to kind of block their tank to make sure that they don't get hit. I mean, it just kind of precludes them from really kind of being all that productive in the average hard mode battle. Now, in a lesser difficulty, it might not be as bad, but in hard modes, it really kind of, if you have too many light tanks on your team, you're just going to get overwhelmed in the end, because even if you're in a main battle tank or heavy tank, however you want to really kind of designate it or describe it, I mean, eventually you're just going to get worn down by all the HE when the rest of your team is pretty much gone. And so for those guys who are playing those light tanks, I mean, it wouldn't be so bad if the enemy wasn't that accurate and wasn't always firing HE. It just, I think it really kind of takes away from the fun of a PvE battle. And so I mean, as much as I am enjoying the game, and trust me, I wouldn't have gone to tier 8 if I wasn't enjoying the game, and I wouldn't have put the money I've put into the game if I wasn't enjoying myself. I find that some adjustments need to be made towards the light tank players because, as it is right now, it's just, I don't think it's fair to them. To people who have weaker hulled tanks, they're just having to kind of, they're having to juggle a little bit too much in a hard mode, whereas with a main battle tank, your biggest problem is the fact that as you're fighting, your biggest problem is you're worrying about getting worn down by all the HE rounds that are being fired at you. Because I mean, as you can see here, I'm able to effectively use my armor against this Leopard 2 and this T80, But if this was a bunch of BMP3s, which aren't that really that strong of a tank, I would eventually just get beaten down by the fact that they would just be spamming me with HE ammunition, and in a versus one, two, or three of them, not that big a deal. But when you think of all of the ones that are going to be in a battle that I'm going to have to face off against, I mean, eventually they're just going to wear me down, and that's just a little bit, I think, over the top. Now, having discussed all these, these negative things, I have to say that still, I mean, I am having a lot of fun and earning my way up to the Abrams has been very enjoyable. I have enjoyed the, really the excellent armor protection that this line affords once you get up to, say, the M6. What is it? The M60A3, which is the one I believe it's tier 5, where you can place all the ERA on it, and it really helps reject a lot of the damage from, heat rounds and HE rounds to a certain degree. That shot still bothers me now. Doing the commentary afterwards, how he just turned that little ERA or additional spaced armor plate towards me just in the end, and like it still kind of grates me a little bit. So I have enjoyed it. And obviously, this battle wasn't the best possible result with this tank. But then again, it's bone stock, first battle, and I'm still trying to kind of feel this tank out. But overall, like the PvE experience has been good, and I've been enjoying myself. Certainly, I'm very excited to see what they're going to do with the next stage of PvE, because I mean, they've discussed somewhat raid-like battles with larger teams and stuff like that, and some people have kind of discussed a little bit about that. Actually, here's a very lucky moment coming up right here. I mean, somebody must have had a lucky horseshoe up their ass, because watch this. His ERA completely saved his ass right there, because I was firing right at that guy and that was a dead-on shot and he drove right into it. That was just crazy. Now, yeah, I am very excited to see where PvE is going to go in the next stages of this game. I'm very curious to see, because overall we have this big world map, but it's not really being utilized for anything other than, just these vague ideas of where these battles are occurring. But some of the things that have been promised as in a storyline and whatnot, I'm very excited to see when those elements come in. And I mean, the one thing that you have to remember when you're playing Armored Warfare is you are playing a proper open beta. You're not playing an open, a quote unquote open beta where it's more or less a finished game and they're just kind of letting you play it on early access or something like that. This is very much a game that is still, in development. It's not a finished product. It's not being, kind of mislabeled as an open beta when it's not. And so you gotta kind of take those things into account when you play it. And so I'm very excited to see a lot of these features that are going to be coming in very soon. And I think right now I have pretty much settled on the fact that the T90 is going to be the next line that I'm going to go down, because I know that a lot of people complain about the Russian tanks insofar as their armor protection, but I think a lot of those complaints are a little bit more PvP oriented and not so much PvE. And I've seen some people pull down some dramatically amazing results with the T72s in PvE games and survive the battles. So I'm very excited to kind of go down that line and see what those tanks can do. But overall, let's see how we did. Now, one of my other qualms about Armored Warfare, and it's one of the things that as you progress through the game, if you're playing it, you're going to notice, is there is a tier modifier as far as your rewards go in the battle. Now, obviously, I didn't have the stellar result that I was hoping for, but I mean, I did pull down top EXP for my team by by quite an amount. And I did a decent amount of damage, but right down here, you're going to see the tier modifier right there. I think I'm outlining, not quite marking it all that well, but it's right there. You can see the tier modifier for experience and for credits earned. And that kind of makes me question the value of a premium tank in the game, because as we get up higher and higher in that, that modifier goes further and further, what's the value of a premium tank really going to be further on? Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.